Activision presents a smashing blast from the past. Developed by Vicarious Visions. It's Crash Bandicoot!
Alright, can everybody hear me this time? Alright, can everybody hear me this time? Alright, cool, awesome, great, let's go. Alright, cool, awesome, great, let's go. Oh, that's gonna be an annoying ass echo. Alright, we are finally done. For some reason it has this thing on default where, oh, we're going to mute the voice, even though it makes like legitimately no sense. Yeah, so I'm gonna get back into streaming and kind of make this a reoccurring thing. Okay, guys, it's something that I enjoyed doing in the past, and I like playing single player games, but I also like interacting and talking with people, and more importantly, I like talking about video games, specifically games from like the late 90s, early 2000s, and up in like really all throughout the 7th generation. But yeah, so I've been playing games for about like just shy of 30 years at this point. I kind of dated myself there, but yeah, like I remember playing this game when it still looked like crude, like polygraphs, and everyone was still made out of triangles. Like, just a lot of games from that era have not aged particularly well. Like, I don't think most of the Resident Evil games hold up that well. I don't think Tomb Raider was ever good. Metal Gear Solid, oh my god. I tried playing that recently, and I don't know if it's just me, but like, that game is almost unplayable by today's standards. But then again, I'm not really a big fan of Kojima stuff to begin with. That being said, though, Crash Bandicoot has aged remarkably well. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, I actually prefer playing this game over Mario 64. In large part because there's not, like, a huge amount of, like, filler content bullshit. Oh! I so wanted to press the circle button to spin. I think that was just, like, my knee-jerk reaction from playing so much Jak and Daxter recently. Which, if you guys subscribe, eventually, I'm going to be getting to playing that game, too. Of course, you know, if it's a single-player game from, like, any of the PlayStation consoles, chances are I'll probably get to it at some point. But we're going to start off with something that's, like, pretty ubiquitous. Ubiquitous. However it's said, I'm smart. With the PlayStation brand. And nothing is peak PlayStation 1 more than Crash Bandicoot. Now, I know we're kind of cheating because we're playing the modern, you know, quote-unquote version, right? But, come on, people, it's the same damn game. Just some extra bells and whistles that keep the kids from going, oh, I don't like that, no, gross, ill, no thanks. Like, Crash Bandicoot was never, like, my main guy. Certainly not, like, during that era, but for a kid who was growing up in the 90s, like, the PS1 was really the first console to cater more towards adults, and you can kind of tell with its library because you had stuff like Symphony of the Night, Metal Gear Solid, Tomb Raider to an extent, the Resident Evil games, Dino Crisis, Vagrant Story. So, honestly, the Final Fantasy games are also like that. All those games were made for like teenagers or adults, right? And Crash Bandicoot was one of the really the only game on there at the time that was like universally for children, or at least like kids themselves. Like they made Crash Bandicoot in the same vein as like Gex to an extent, or like Sonic the Hedgehog, or God forbid Bubsy. They wanted to cash in on the Mario crowd, the Sonic crowd, and you know the up and coming Pokemon crowd, which I don't even think I need to explain like how stupidly popular Pokemon is. Like most of you guys probably, it's the most successful media franchise of all time, I think. Like that franchise is so like prevalent that even almost 30 years later, it's never fallen off, right? Like, you know, Crash Bandicoot fell off, Spyro's fallen off, the majority of the games from PS2 have fallen off. Like, nobody under the age of 30 talks about Jak and Daxter. And yet, Pokemon, like, everyone knows who that is. My mother knows what a Pikachu is. My grandmother knew what a Pikachu was. They knew what a Bulbasaur was. Just through, like, the sheer cross-cultural osmosis of Pokemon's popularity is just, it's undefeated. Like, Pokemon is so successful as a franchise that Nintendo, when they were making handhelds right before the Switch, all they had to do to maintain majority of the market was just make one Pokemon game, boom. Instant success. Like, Pokemon is to Nintendo what Grand Theft Auto was to PS2. Let's be serious. Alright, so with Crash Bandicoot 1, I remember when this game came out, like the compilation, one of the big takeaways was that, oh, is this like, it's harder than we remember? And not really. Like, one of the reasons why this game is so difficult was, for one, they had to map this to the controls of Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3. And Crash Bandicoot 1, when it came out, I mean, I could be mistaken, but I don't even think the DualShock had been released yet. Like, I think people were still using, like, that god-awful D-pad that was never intended to work for 3D games. Like, I think there's a reason why so many of those early PS1 games, like, are either really good RPGs, side-scrollers, or they just did not use the, they've aged pretty poorly, to say the least. Like, I know people really give praise to the PS1, and rightfully so. It's because it's, like, really the first big console to take gaming from, like, a hobby to, oh my god, this is here to stay. Like, this is a cultural, like, this is a movement, man. Woo! Toasty. I forget, but can you even slide in this game? It's been so long since I've tried these controls. I don't think you... Yeah, you can't. So the whole, like, slide and run thing that you can do in 2 and 3, is just a no-go. And it's just because... I mean, this is pretty standard with a lot of first entries in video games, like, especially long runners. Like, if you go back from, Mega Man 4, right? And then you go back to play, like, Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, you'll notice that there's, like, key aspects that are missing from those installments. So, like, there's no rush, like, which is the power dog. There's no, slide ability. I don't even think you have the, like, there's just certain weapons and dashing. There's so much stuff that you're just, like, limited in those early entries because a lot of the time they're just ironing out the bugs. They're trying to understand, like, what works in this space, and a lot of the time they don't even expect to get a sequel. And a lot of the ideas that they do have, they don't have time to make it to the development stage, so they get stuck on the cutting room floor. But then the sequel comes out, and all those ideas that they had cooking are now able to, like, come to fruition. And that's why a lot of sequels end up being, like, unlike the film industry in video games, it's pretty common for the sequel to be better than the original, and that's in large part because video games is like the one art form that is intrinsically tied with the advancement of technology, or at least that's how it was until, like, maybe very recently. I'm not even just talking, like, graphics, right? I'm talking, like, everything: controls, sound, user interface, the ability to, like, explain the game properly, to have a story, to have a fleshed out world. Like, I remember when it used to be a big deal when subtitles became a thing for, like, the hearing impaired. And now we got to a point in time where, like, people who are missing fingers or who have, like, some kind of blindness, or they have, like, what is that called? Cerebral palsy. Even they're able to play games like Minecraft or The Last of Us. And that's one of the reasons why I maintain that gaming has only gotten better. Like, sure, there's some anti-consumer business practices that are tossed about, like with on-disc DLC or microtransactioning you to death, but outside of that, like, the ability for everybody to be able to partake in this art form is amazing. Like, that's something, not only does it open up that avenue to, like, a whole different branch of, like, people who otherwise wouldn't have the chance to, but it raises it to the same level, or even levels above, like, the music and the film industry. And gaming, it's one of those things where they make so much money on games that, like, I think it makes more money than, like, all of film. I'm pretty sure that's old news at this point, but it's true. Like, I thought it was impressive when they came out there and said, oh, there are more people who watch, like, these big stream competitions between, like, Dota players or, like, people who play, like, online games, like, MOBAs, than there are people who watch the Super Bowl. And, like, to somebody like me, who, like, spends most of their time in reality, it's one of those, like, oh, well, I don't believe you. And then you see the statistics, and you're like, well, I'll be damned. Like, even though I prefer this to Mario 64, like, I can understand why 64 got all the praise and this didn't, because this is, like, a barely... fucker. This is, like, a barely 3D, left-to-right platformer, and Mario 64 being a, like, truly open, like a semi-open world 3D game, like that novelty must have been so mind-boggling. It wasn't some bullshit like Jumping Fish, for example, where people were more or less stuck in a first-person view. No, Mario 64 was like legitimately mind-blowing when it came out, and now it's kind of like aged like milk. And I just think it's funny that, like, even though PlayStation games weren't really reinventing the wheel, per se, like a lot of the 64 games, I find that they're way easier to go back to, because I'll be frank, I don't think the Pokemon Stadium games are really that good. If you don't have the ability to upload your characters, or like your Pokemon themselves to the game. I don't think Mario 64, I honestly think that's the weakest 3D Mario game. It's probably my least favorite Mario game, period. Ocarina of Time, not my favorite Zelda, same with Majora's Mask. I think the only game on there where I'm like, yeah, I gotta play this, is Star Fox 64. And the moment they remade that on the 3DS, like, that game just became obsolete. And, I mean, it makes sense, though, because you went from, like, pristine, like, top-of-the-line 2D graphics and, what the hell is that called? Like, pixel art in, like, the 4th generation. And then we get to the 5th gen, and people are just now learning, like, rudimentary 3D graphics and understanding how that all works in an open space. So it makes sense, because, like, the 5th gen... Like, the 3rd gen was good, but it's what we learned in that generation was what ended up making the 4th generation great. And the 5th gen was spent mostly learning how to make 3D games, and then by the time the PS2 and the GameCube and the Xbox and, to a lesser extent, the Dreamcast came out, all of a sudden it's like, whoa! Like, that's when gaming became, like, that was like a renaissance almost. Like, if the 5th generation was the Dark Ages, the 6th gen was the Renaissance, because you started seeing games come out that, like, were legitimately mind-blowing. You started seeing stuff like Resident Evil 4 and Metroid Prime, Twilight Princess, Shadow of the Colossus. You have the Ratchet trilogy, the Sly trilogy, the Jak and Daxter trilogy, if that's your thing, Grand Theft Auto 3, if that's your thing, the remake to Resident Evil 1. We had the first 2 Pikmin games. We had Wind Waker. We had, oh my god, God of War 2 and 3. Oh my god, God of War 2. Whew! Talk about a good-ass game. Like, just, it seems like every, fucking Kingdom Hearts. You also had, like, Silent Hill 2 and 3. God damn. Holy crap, there was a lot of good games on the 6th generation. And it was really cool too, because those games, they did not have to sell like millions and millions of copies in order to make bank. They didn't take forever to make. Like, the Ratchet and Clank games in particular are a good indication of this, where they made one game, and then over the course of the next 3 years, they got 2 more games out of it. Now we try and get a Ratchet and Clank game done, and even though Insomniac is a big workaholic company that basically works their employees to death, it takes many years to crank out just one of those games. So that's like the unfortunate downside in the advancements of technology. It's just like the standards for games has gotten so high that there's no way to work at that same pace. I feel like the 6th generation was like the first and only time where the technology was top of the line. You didn't have to make like all your money, or you didn't have to like be a gangbuster in order to make money. And because of that, like, any game could come out at any price. Like, you sell a game for $20, you're still gonna like make a good profit off of it because it didn't cost an arm and a leg to make it. And then I feel like the moment we went to HD, like, that all changed. Because I think like the 7th generation, I mean, I could be mistaken, but that's when you started seeing like big fall-offs from the gaming industry. Like, THQ went under. A lot of other companies that eventually got bought out by, I think they're called Embracer Group, went under. you started seeing like mass buy-offs, and especially in the last couple of years, like big companies that used to be like really huge publishers were getting devoured by even bigger publishers. I think the best example of this would be Activision being bought out by Microsoft, and then the same thing happening to Bethesda not that long before. So, you know, you can get into the whole conspiratorial thinking of like, oh, well, this is just a sign of late-stage capitalism. You might be onto something like that, but unfortunately, like whatever the cause, gaming is becoming more and more monopolized, and pretty soon, like if this keeps up, all of your video game franchises are going to be owned by like a half dozen or so conglomerates, and then like, you know, Nintendo going it alone. And who knows, like there was actually talk years ago, like when Atlas was going on sale, that instead of Sega buying them, it would have been Nintendo. And that probably would have been a good thing for them, because they keep getting away with bangers like the Persona games, and then obviously, I think they made Metaphor. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure they made it though. Like that alone would have made them just buku money, and have the ability to be a Switch 2 exclusive. Like dog, Japan would have been like locked up. I mean, to be fair though, Nintendo pretty much... Oh shit. Oh. Is he gonna kill me? Oh god damn it, guy. Bitch. Anyway, they pretty much have Japan already locked up, because Xbox is not really a threat there anymore, and they haven't been for like really ever. But like, from what I can tell, the PS5, they're not really big on that either. I don't know, maybe it's because they don't like can't speak, Seto Kaiba. It looks too much like a White Dragon user. So when it comes to the Crash Bandicoot trilogy, I think it's great because it's one of those rare franchises where every game is better than the one that preceded it. Now, I know the common consensus is that like 2 is considered the best. I'll be frank, I think 3 is the best. It has the most interesting villains. It has the most variety and platforming. Like in Crash Bandicoot 1, it's all like straight platforming, and if you like that, I can empathize with that. I can see your point. But as somebody who wants to like every once in a while do something that isn't like straight left to right, up and down, I always found Crash 3 to be have the most variety. And not only that, but even if Crash Bash is not the best game, that Crash Bash, when people say that they like Crash Bash the most, what they like is the pinball game, maybe the Battle Royale, and the fucking tank one. But let's be real. Do you really like the Pogo minigame? Or how about the one where you're on a polar bear? Ugh. Crash Bash is garbage. Or the one where you're on a frickin'... God damn it. You're on that little wheel thing. Oh, fuck this. Gamer moment. Yeah. I'm using cheats this time because I'm smart. And this is why I never die in this game. Crash Bash was not good, dude. You know it, I know it. Crash Bash was a hot mess. I don't know how you get away. You have 7 mini... Okay, so they're clearly trying to rip off Mario Party, right? And go for, the whole party scheme. Well, you can't really do that when you have 7... First of all, you only have 7 mini games, and half of them are bad. Straight up. The Pogo game and the Polar Bear game, those are not good. Can we admit that, please? I would respect everyone a lot more if we could just, stop convincing ourselves that that game was ever good. Those games were never good. And while we're at it, neither was Sonic the Hedgehog. Sorry, I know that's going to piss off, 20 million people on the internet, but I never got the appeal of Sonic. People always go in defense, oh, well, that part where you... I just threw away, 3 lives, that's crazy. That part where you're, going really fast and going around, the little loopy-loop there on the friggin', yeah, Sonic is whack. You're going really fast, going around the loop-de-loop and going in circles. It's like, oh, yeah, that looks cool. So the part you like is the one where you're not even playing the friggin' game? Give me a break. You know, say what you will about Mario 64, but at least require you to play the damn game. Sonic 2 is like the most overrated game this side of Metal Gear Solid. And Sonic 3, I've beaten that game, but every time I start it up after playing 2, I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I playing this game? I don't like this game. I don't like this franchise. I would rather play a Kirby game than a Sonic game. Yeah, Kirby, a franchise best known for putting me to sleep. I'd rather play that, because hey, you know, at least it has decent music. Actually, I can rebut on that, because I think Sonic 3 has decent music. I personally can only think of like a handful of tracks that I like really enjoy. Can someone explain that to me, how that happened? Like Crash just kept walking into the abyss. I don't know, this is like, some of that was a bit questionable. But we'll go with it, we'll roll with it. We're gonna see if I can beat this by midnight, you know, just to give myself like an artificial time crunch, but we'll see what happens. Who knows, maybe I'll eventually like get pissed off and have to like just rage quit the game. I doubt it though. Like Crash Bandicoot 1, I don't care what those articles say, this game is not that hard. Like people will say, oh, Crash Bandicoot's really hard, and to those guys I don't know what to tell you outside of just, you guys suck at video games because it's incredibly easy. Like, look at this. I'm literally, like, raking in the lives. Now, it does get hard towards the end, but I think the one level that really gets people by the balls is the one where you're over the bridge. And trust me, we will get to that. We will get there. Ho-ho, bitch! God damn. That shit was smooth. Whack! I'm not gonna lie, like, one of the things that's really undersold about this game is its sound design and then its soundtrack. Like, it's not Koji Kondo levels of excellence. It's certainly not from the composer of, like, a Final Fantasy. But you hear these instrumentals, and you hear these sound effects, and it's distinctly Crash Bandicoot. Like, when he spins and you hear the ricochet sound, whew, goddamn, it's satisfying. I don't know, it's kind of like the description says it best, but this is what happens if the people who made Animaniacs had to make a video game. Because this is very much in the same vein as like a classic Warner Brothers cartoon. I don't know, not only that, but like Crash kind of had like an edge to him. And because it's so weird, like they play him up in the marketing as being like this really edgy, mischievous, badass character, and then you play the game proper, and the guy is just a goofball. And a Chad. The Chad Crash Bandicoot, the Virgin Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh man. Make sure to drink water, folks. Ugh. Don't you hate it when you just barely miss the boxes? Like, I've gotten the gems before. Oh my god, this fucking guy. This dude. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of my favorite bosses though. Like, the fact that he has, like, the insanity level to just match Crash Bandicoot. There's something, like, kind of wholesome about it. Boom. Haha, I timed it, bitch. That worked? How the hell did I miss that? Can I get a referee in here? Okay, yeah, the pinpointing is a little weird, okay. Yeah, imagine, it's a lot harder than you think. Die. God damn it. That didn't make it. No, you just gotta be patient with them. Haha! Mike Jones! Die, bitch! Also, I could be mistaken, but is his voice from, like, an animated movie? Like, I'm pretty sure that he's from, Lady and the Tramp. Like, I remember seeing that in, like, some gaming trivia. Yeah, bitch! Shit. I think I got him. Fuck. Okay. This should get him. Got you, bitch! There we go. Woo! Yeah. Dying to River Root. Like, if I were to die 3 times, I probably would have had to call my therapist, which I don't have because I can't afford because I'm broke. I was poor. 100 times. Shut up, you! Backseat driver. You probably would have died like 400 times. Also, you defended Crash Bash, so how seriously should I take you? Haha! How's that for skill? Oh my god, okay, I want to press the circle button, right? Because I know that's the dash jump. Like, I'm telling you, once you get to Crash Bandicoot 2, you abuse the shit out of that. Ah! Also, it's around this point where the game stops playing itself and you're like, okay, now I have to be awake. I mean, I'm not gonna start like sweating bullets or anything, but I kind of have to pay attention now. So if the commentary starts to fall apart, well, you know, it is what it is. That's just how 90s games were, man. That's just how 90s video games were. Oh, with Crash Bandicoot? Yeah, yeah, it's easier to go from Crash Bandicoot to Spyro than it is to go from Spyro to Crash. Now, fortunately, I had them both around the same time. I never owned a PlayStation 1, at least not like when it was relevant. I did buy one like many years later because I found it in like a Goodwill somewhere, and I just got it for the novelty of it. But I did have a handful of PS1 games. Because they were still selling PS1s because they were backwards, like the PS2, in their infinite wisdom, decided to make it completely backwards compatible with PS1 game. So I was able to like retroactively go back and play the entire Spyro trilogy. Fuck! And then 2 of 3 Crash Bandicoot games because for some reason they, in this jewel case collection of like Crash games, right? They put 2 and 3 in there, but they didn't put in 1. So for years, like Crash Bandicoot 1 was a game that I never played until the PlayStation 3 version came out of it, where they started like, you could buy them for like $5 a piece. And by the way, if you are curious, yes, those servers are still up to this day. So if you really want to get your hands on a like a PS1 game and you don't mind using that god-awful PS3 controller, yes, you can download all of PS1 games. But one PS1 game that me and my brother used to play a lot, and nobody talks about it, it's called Battle Hunter. This game didn't sell particularly well because it was like, I swear to God, like one of the last games to come out on that system. But, and they never made a sequel to it. I don't know who made it. I barely remember the gameplay to it, outside of it just being like a somewhat, god damn it, dungeon crawling game where you have to like tackle with other players to get control of these artifacts. Haha, bitch! and you would go in there. You could like, you could battle each other. You could battle the enemies. There was like characters you had to fight, obstacles to overcome. You would explore dungeons, but like the dungeons themselves were like so crudely made. Like they were literally all squares and shit. But it's a fun ass game. I'm really surprised they never made more of them. Like I remember my brother liked it really well. Haha, haha. How did that not break? Oh well, we missed one. Sorry, but I wasn't risking it for $1. Besides, I already got the trophies on this bitch. Platinumed. But would I ever do it for Crash Bandicoot 3? Hell no. I really feel like I should have died there. What? Oh! Huh. Like, this game in particular, the platforming is so, like, super tight. Like, they really want you to be precise with this bitch. Now, fun fact, if he was in the army and this shit happened to him, he'd 100% get disability from that. Front row parking at the mall! Hell yeah! One thing I will say about Crash Bandicoot 1 is that its world, like, actually feels somewhat, like, believable. Like, it's certainly not realistic. I mean, you have, like, these endless pits and towers that seemingly lead to nowhere. But, like, you legitimately feels like this is an island occupied by, like an ancient island occupied by, like, a villainous scientist guy who's experimenting on animals. Because, like, every area feeds logically into the next one. It's like, oh, we have the tribal area. Oh, we have the pyramid or whatever the hell this is, filled with insects, like this bitch. And then we have like some kind of like toxic goo refinery place where they dump out toxic waste into the ocean. And then like you compare that to Mario's world, right? And it all just seemed like abstract nonsense that went nowhere. Like the logistics of the Mushroom Kingdom outside of like the RPG series never made sense to me. It just always seemed like a whole lot of nonsense that was thrown together. And I get it, it's a video game first and a world second, but that's why when they try to make a movie out of it, it just like it did not work. Did I just screw myself? No, I'm pretty sure that comes back. But yeah, you're right. The floating in Crash Bandicoot, or the controls of Crash Bandicoot 1, are a bit on the floatier side. Those bats are going to hit me, aren't they? Oh, cool. No, too easy. But they're not broken. They're off. And it's just because of like how old this game is. But I personally, Jesus Christ, think it's serviceable. Like, you know, it's not nearly as concise as something like, say, Super Meat Boy or any of the later, like, Donkey Kong games. Certainly not better than them. But I think for, like, an early 3D platforming game that's not made by Nintendo or, to an extent, Sega, for a first attempt, this is pretty good. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, man, I really wish that, like, they could buy the IP back from Activision and then, like, Naughty Dog can work on these games again. Folks, they don't even want to work on Shaq and Daxter. And that's a franchise that they do have the rights to. They do not want... They made it clear that they do not want to make another Crash Bandicoot game. And not only that, but like the people who made those games, most of those guys are retired from the industry. Like, they are not making games... Fuck! Like this anymore. Oh... Yep, this is where it begins. This is the isometric platform that is like really nips people. Like, I had a buddy who played this game a while ago, and it was levels like this that drove him insane. I'm pretty sure those like Wampa fruits or whatever they're called lead to a secret of some kind, but I don't care about the gems. You know, all that happens, like, first of all, you get a secret ending with Crash's side bitch, and she leaves him for the gangster guy anyway. So who knows? Maybe Crash Bandicoot is like video game's first cuckold. Who knows? Ah! Oh, thank God, a checkpoint. Not only that, but like Crash Bandicoot is pretty generous. Like you can see in the top right, it's generous with the lives. It's generous with the hitboxes, apparently. Then it's also generous with the Wampa Fruit, the ability to gain more lives, the checkpoints. I'm not king-shaming him at all. I'm just making an observation. You know, if he, wants to have another man or Bandicoot or Rat or whatever the hell Pinstripe is dominate his woman, whatever. It's a free country in Australia. Which, by the way, is that not like the most awesome thing ever? Like, they could have given Crash any voice actor or like any voice period, and they went with Australian because he's a Bandicoot. Now, fun fact, again, he wasn't always going to be a Bandicoot. He was originally going to be either... They had a toss between a Bandicoot, a Wombat, and a Wallaby. Or, I don't know if it's a Wombat, but something like that. Oh, God! This is the level. This is the fucking level that, like, all the articles were written about. Ah! We gotta focus here. This game's no joke. Or this level's no joke. And it's all because of these big pig bastards. But thankfully, I have a strategy. And that's never be in the same spot for more than a second. Ah! Like, you can feel it on these controls, but, like, you always barely make it. Ah! Now, I know there's, like, some cheating fucks out there that try and do the sneaky thing where they just, like, ride the ropes the whole way, but it's like, dog, that takes... You're better off just, like, doing this shit and learning, like, just look at the shadow. Like, the shadows will be your guide. Trust me. Holy crap. Now, fun fact, if you're trying to go for the gem, or whatever the hell, you need to do this all in one sitting. And yes, I've done it before, but I'm telling you, it's a pain in the ass. Ah! Haha! Yeah! Because I was not born in 3D. I've played Castlevania, the OG ones. This is nothing. And see, stuff like this, right? Like this and pretty much every game that came out on the NES, this is how I know the Gen Xers and the older millennials who played games back then are just made of different stuff because they had way more tolerance for this kind of bullshit. You know... But I'll be honest, at least Crash Bandicoot's jumps, at least they feel like they're meant to go the distance you want them to. I feel like as the series went, like as Naughty Dog went on, their jumps became less and less intuitive. Where like, I feel like you were constantly mashing the X button just to get a use out of all 3 jumps that Jack has. Like I always feel like Jack's jumps never go far enough. Like I always feel like they needed an extra, like, inch of gravity. I think I already fucked myself. Fuck. Alright, wait for this guy to get up. Is he gonna get up? Okay, cool. Too easy. Alright, here we go. Ah! Yeah, you can feel your sphincter tighten on that one. But, like, look at this. This is insanity. Oh, it's already over. Okay, that wasn't that bad. See, folks, it's not the hardest thing to do. It's not Dark Souls. Because it didn't require 30 minutes of waiting behind a shield. Which, by the way, that's the reason I prefer Bloodborne. I don't care too much about the first Dark Souls. But we'll get to that later. But speaking of games coming later, there's actually if you enjoy this stream, there's way more coming down the pipe, and I've actually got a pretty big variety of games to go to. So, like, I want to talk about the Resident Evil games. I want to talk about the Spyro games, Uncharted, The Last of Us eventually, God of War 3. I want to talk about the Doom games, even the ones that were ported shittily over to the PS1 somehow. It's like, oh, the PS1 version's so bad. It's like, okay, well, clearly you never played the Jaguar, where they didn't even have music. I mean, say what you will about the 3DO, but at least that one has, like, really amazing sound design. Oh, I mean, okay, so as an aside, not trying to be like a shameful plug or anything for somebody, but go look at the score for like the 3DO version specifically of Doom, and I'm blown away because the person who made it, like, when they ported over Doom to 3DO, it was like one technician, right, who had like 10 weeks to port over the entire thing to a new console by herself. And I don't know what led her to make this decision, but she could also apparently play the electric guitar and some other instruments. So she re-recorded all of the music for the 3DO version, and it went from really good, sophisticated tune-bit music, or MIDI music, or whatever the hell it's called, and she turned it into like a borderline rock concert. So the whole time you're slaying demons, you're rocking the hell out. It's like going to a Van Halen concert. Like, dude, it's seriously, the 3DO Doom experience is so good. It makes you want to rip the head off a fucking rhino and use it as a bowling ball. But, you know, questionable animal ethics aside, it's just good shit. Like, it's like, it's the kind of music, it's the kind of music you make your fucking children to. That's all I'm saying. Anyway. And that is the story of how I got demonetized. I'm Joan of Arc! Damn it! You know, they've actually asked people over the years, like, who is the hottest woman of all time, and the number one answer, surprisingly, was Joan of Arc. And then you think about it, you're like, wait a minute, you sneaky bitch. Dark. Oh, God! I swear, these bats have probably gotten more people than I could have possibly imagined. Ah! COVID! Are we in Wuhan? I see bats and lizards and small mammals, and they're all eating each other. No! Oh, how did I survive that? Oh, there we go. It's like Final Destination. It finally caught up to me. Ah! Oh my god, I just want to like dive and jump the entire level. Is that too much to ask? Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. There's no reason for people to not have like 90 lives plus by the time they're done with this. Bye, dude. Thanks for watching. Ah! Holy crap! No, 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 don't. Alright, sweet. Yeah, what the fuck? Can I get a replay on this? Because that looked like some bullshit to me. That looked like some pretty questionable quackery. Kind of like the 16 personalities test. Which, by the way, is... I don't know how that is, like, even remotely taught in, like, psychology classes. Oh, shit. You sneaky bastard. Both of them. And at that point, like, the game has become winnable. There we go. It's weird. It's almost like streaming in the middle of the night was a bad idea. Because now I'm, like, seeing all the colors that are not even there, including the invisible ones. Ah! Of course, I could have advertised this better if, you know, it doesn't matter. This game has enough material to like you could talk about. You could literally talk about this game for like days if you really tried. Like just the cultural impact this had in the '90s, like can't beat it. In fact, if there wasn't so many goddamn Tomb Raider games, I'm pretty sure like besides Gran Turismo, this was like the PlayStation game to buy. Like it's so weird because like I feel like American games since the dawn of forever have had a hard time breaking into Japan, right? And this is one of the only games to do it successfully, repeatedly. Hell, fucking Spyro couldn't do that. And many people were surprised to learn that this actually was from an American company in Naughty Dog. Or maybe they're maybe they're British, I don't know. I think they're American. But yeah, the point is, like, a Western developer was able to crack in. I mean, granted, they had to, like, change some cultural shit around to, like, make it more appealing. Damn it. But they didn't go full Xbox and tell them, no, you cannot have, dating simulators and, like, RPGs and, like, little shmups on here. We don't want, like, that's not what Japanese people want. They want fucking football and Call of Duty. And then they wonder why all of their systems have tanks since then. It's like, people want what they want. Oh shit! Haha! Not only that, but like, in the remake, you get cool vistas like this. Where you can see like the progression you're making through the 3 islands or however many islands there are in this fucking game. Wow. Ah! Jump! Wampa! It's so weird to think like Aku Aku has been in this franchise for so long and yet he hasn't had a defined character until 3. And they only did that because they needed to like have him bounce off of Uka Uka. Also, I could be mistaken, but does Clancy Brown voice both Aku Aku and Neo Cortex? I know. I don't think he does in this game, or maybe he does. I don't know. It's either that or they're doing a pretty good impression of him. But after this, I'm definitely have to use the restroom because, whew, man, that drinking coffee at like midnight perhaps wasn't the best strategy, Cotton. Ugh. Ah! Do I want to make a 9? No, I do not want to make 9/11 jokes. It's too soon. 24 years later. I mean, it could be worse though. I could make a the start of like a rom-com that like takes it opens up with a plane going into the World Trade Center, and yes, this is real, surprisingly. But you know, rom-coms have taken place at other interesting locations like a subway, but most of those are set in Korea. The good kind, obviously. The one that did not capture the Godzilla guy to make Korean propaganda movies for them. And held them hostage for, like, what, a decade? And yes, that's real, too. Ah! Alright, well, we will be right back, folks. I'll be right with you. Alright, we are back. Sorry about that. I wanted to get some liquid in me that was not caffeine or water. So I decided to go with chocolate milk. But it tasted, or it smelled kind of, not foul, but I don't normally drink whole milk. And to me, whole milk kind of smells like butter. I don't know if that's normal or not. Kind of like this dude's legs. This dude, this man right here is exactly why you do not skip leg day. Speaking of, like, the PlayStation 1, I remember when they were trying to sell us, like, the PlayStation 1 Mini, and people were blown away by the sheer lack of, like, worth in that system. Because they had no Crash Bandicoot, no Spyro, no Wipeout, no Symphony of the Night. Like, there was just so many games that were missing. Couldn't think of it. Did they even have a Gran Turismo? And then they packed in the controller that didn't have the dual sticks on it. Like, I know people were upset with the Super Nintendo Mini missing Chrono Trigger, but at least, like, imagine if they released the Mini without having, like, the Donkey Kong country games on it. Or, like, Mario World, or Link to the Past, or Super Mario, like, Yoshi's Island. Imagine if it was missing, like, there were core games, like, when you think about, like, PlayStation 1, that you just need to have, and the fact that they had more games missing than they were in, kind of think of it, like, I don't like them, but there was not a single Tomb Raider on that thing either. Like, I just don't get how, like, they have access to all these IPs, or, like, they have a good working relationship with all these companies, and yet the roster was, like, subpar. They had a bunch of bullshit. I don't know, I don't think I've seen a fuck-up from Sony that bad since, like, the PlayStation 3 launch. You know, the one where they try to sell a console on, like, the peak of a recession for, like, $600 that had no games worth playing, and it was a difficult pain in the ass to develop games for. The console that, in my opinion, wasn't even worth owning until, like, I don't know, 2010. Like, I don't want to go on this rant, like, in a game that's not even part of the PlayStation 3, but I just can't get over how disappointing that was back then. Like, you had people ruthlessly dogging on the PlayStation 3. You had guys like casualgamers.com or whatever, or cranky gamers, whatever the hell they were called, literally making, like, full-on, like, parody spoof songs of the PlayStation 3 saying how it has no games. You have channels like Adam Korolek who make retrospectives on this thing, and they verify that, yeah, the PS3 had no games until, like, the very end of its lifespan. An unusually large lifespan at that, but near the end regardless. And then, like, Gabe Newell himself didn't even want to make games for it. Like, he called the PS3 something to the effect of, it's a disaster and a complete waste of everyone's time. And it's true, because the exclusives, they weren't churning out until, like, what, 2009? I mean, yeah, you had one Ratchet & Clank game that was worth playing, in Tools of Destruction, and then you had, like, Uncharted 1. But they had... Last of Us was not a thing. Uncharted 2 was not a thing. Infamous had not come out yet. They didn't have Demon's Souls yet. There's just so much missing. That, like, everything that made the PS3 great. Oh, no God of War game! Until, like, 2010. I think that game got delayed. And, like, I hate to say it, but, like, God of War 3... Well, actually, I don't hate to say it. Like, God of War 3 was hype. And that trailer at E3 was so good to where somebody like me, who had been dogging on the PS3 for years at that point, was like, you know what? Maybe I need to start mowing more lawns because I kind of want to get a PS3. Now, eventually I did get it. I think the only games I got for it that I didn't already have for my 360, which at this point had fucking broke for the second time because, you know, the Red Ring of Death and just general poor construction. I think the only games I bought for it was Darksiders and then God of War 3. Oh, that's not true. I also had Heavy Rain, which... It's alright. I mean, it's cool if you like to play movies. I think it's one of those games where, like, you play it twice over on a different playthrough, just to have, like, a different twist, and then you never play it again. I think it's a game that's, like, better off as a movie or a TV series than it is, like, an actual playable experience, because as a game, it's mind-numbingly dull. And now it's crazy that there's, like, an entire genre of, like, click and pick-your-own-adventure games, like The Walking Dead, the Dark Anthology games. Until Dawn is a pretty good example of that. And then, of course, you have Detroit Become Human. I mean, I did like Detroit Become Human a lot, but, like, that was one of the games where I'm like, yeah, I need to buy this game. But I feel like I've had, like, no desire to go back and play it, weirdly enough, even though I recognize that it's a good game. And I do recommend people, like, at least try it for, like, $20. I know it's on Steam on sale all the time. But as far as, like, that was weird, but we'll keep going. As far as, like, PS4 exclusives, it was pretty good. But back to the PS3, it was just like it was an unmitigated disaster, is what that was. Like, the PS3 was not only absurdly expensive, had no exclusives worth having, and this is back when exclusives still kind of mattered to people, but it didn't even have, like, the ports that you got. Like, yeah, it had third party, better than Nintendo, which was always going to be the case, but it was always, like, an inferior version, more often than not, to Xbox. Like, I honestly think, like, if the PlayStation 3, or let me put it like this, the 360 was a worthy successor to the OG Xbox. The Wii, while not as good in my opinion, was still a worthy successor to the GameCube. The PS3 was not only not a worthy successor of the PS2, yeah, the PS3 going back on the PS2, but it was a downgrade in almost every regard. The controller was not as good. The games were not as good. The ecosystem was not as good. The features weren't even that good. Like, it came to a point where, like, yeah, the PS3 starter one, like, you know, the grill, the piano grill that they were selling, yeah, that was good, but, it was so expensive to make that they literally had to start cutting pieces out of it just to make money off of it. Like, I forget the exact numbers, but I think even at $600, the system was not overpriced because it cost them, like, $1,000 to make it. Like, Adam Korlak put it best. It's the Rolls Royce of consoles. And it's like, oh, but it's so, like, well designed. That doesn't matter. But it does make me wonder, though. Like, you look at games like Ratchet and Clank, Crack in Time, and how good that looks. And then you look at stuff later down the pipe, like The Last of Us on PS3. It makes you wonder if people actually understood how to develop for the cell processor, just how good could those games be? Like, what is the game that was like tapping out the cell. What the fuck? You see what I mean with like the shoddy platforming? And why the slide is so essential later down the road? Because if you could have the... Shit. If you have the slide mechanic, a lot of these problems go away. Fuck that noise. Mine. Can we just like... I don't know how to feel about Tanya's design. On the one hand, it's very like 90s, like, yeah, we know what we're doing. We're kind of wink, wink, nod, nudge, nudge, nodding to the audience. It's kind of like Stellar Blade, where it's like, it's clear that these people are basically fantasizing over their own design, but at the same time, like, it's so shameless that's actually kind of admirable. Well, I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure, like, the model that serves as, like, the main character's, or, like, the actress who serves as the model for the main character is, like, the lead designer's wife, which, if that's the case, lucky bastard. And that's all I'm gonna say on it, you thirst traps. I really feel like I should have died there, but thanks, game. You finally threw me a bone. Ah! Okay, so, like, this game is not hard, but it does sneak up on you. And I do think the last world is where, like, okay, you know what? I can see, but I don't know. Like, the fact that I'm able to have, like, a conversation and go into depth about, like, all these different, why are you not... Oh, God! It's one of those levels where you have to, like, not die in the level. Fuck you. Fuck you. I can't believe this game cucked me out of a free gem like that. All because the controls are not the best. Oh, that's aside, like, why is it that, like, all these characters are skipping leg day? And come to think of it, why is, Crash Bandicoot, why is he, like, a hunchback? I think this is another level where you're not allowed to die. But, like, you'll watch this. We'll get to the very end. I'll be doing so good until then, and then some bullshit will happen where I'll dive into the goo that made the Shredder. Or the Turtles, or the Super Shredder. Fuck it, I made a Turtles reference. I don't watch this stuff. Ah! You know, I was watching the Gaming Brit show, and apparently he does not like the graphics because he feels like this goes against the designs of the characters, but I'm like, I don't know, dude. Does this not look, like, artistically pleasing to you? But after watching all of his, or maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was, like, the guy who does nothing but bitch about Mortal Kombat. I don't know. It's one of these, Yankee fucks. They're just, like, the most unsatisfied people on the planet. Like, nothing makes these dudes happy. You know, they hate the new God of War, they hate the new Mortal Kombat, and, like, I swear to God, these dudes are industry plants, because they'll shit on stuff that's clearly good, and yet they'll defend nonsense. Like, they'll actually defend stuff like Mortal Kombat Armageddon, which is, like, outside of the excess of characters, is, basically reviled as, like, the worst Mortal Kombat game. Like, I'm not a big Mortal Kombat guy myself, but I do enjoy the story. And I liked MK1's story. Or whatever the hell it's called. Sorry, doing something real quick. Okay. That's disturbing. I can't see. Bitch! Oh, hey, I got the trophy. Sweet! Or the The gem. Which, by the way, that's kind of weird that like this game does not have crystals. I think it's because I played Crash Bandicoot 2 before playing this, and the main collectible in that game were the crystals. To not see it in this game was so bizarre. Like, I thought there was something wrong with, like... I'm like, did I not get them in time? Yeah, this is the dude that Tanya ends up leaving Crash for. It's kind of funny. Bitch. So why does he get a three-piece suit, and yet Crash gets pants? Also, this is very, like, the music fits. I don't know, I just like this game a lot. Like, it's very charming. And a lot of the stuff that people find annoying is charming. Like, you know, the random bullshit pig guys that, like, kill you when you're not expecting it. Charming. Ripperoo dancing around the ruin, driving you nuts with his little, yells of insanity. Charming. The bullshit platforming sections. That's charming, too. Like, this shit. This is... this is charming as fuck. I mean, look at this. Look how annoying this is. Ah! That warthog killed me. Oh, God. I'm already regretting this decision. This is where the stream ends. I can't go on. The walls are closing in. Get out of my face, you. God damn it! Alright, gotta concentrate. Ugh. Why am I so bad all of a sudden? Okay. Bro. Yes, thank you, Aku Aku. Not that you're helped. What is happening? I've died, what, 8 times to this shit? What? Checkpoint, please. Alright, wait for that turtle to go up. Thank you. I don't even think I need you for this one. I do need you, though. Ah! Aha! I couldn't imagine doing this in one run because that sounds like a freaking nightmare. Oh, god damn it. Ugh. That would have been some bullshit. But hey, at least we're getting our lives back, yeah? Jump, goddammit. Ah, pig! Yoink! I don't know, at some, like, once you find your rhythm, like, the game becomes almost like you're performing a dance. Okay, good. Boop, boop. Aha, bitch. Yeah, see, here we are. Too easy. Easy sailing from here on in. Which is probably for the best, because I'm starting to get tired. Ah! Ah! Oh, cool. Ride, goddammit. Jump! One thing that's kind of a shame, though, is the fact, like, the 3D platformer after the 5th generation, like, even though this... Oh, God. Even though the 6th generation had, like, a bunch of trilogies and stuff on the PS2 that was still, not pandering, but, like, catering towards the youngins, yeah? Like, you know, you had Jack, Ratchet, and Sly, and obviously Mario to an extent. Like, you start to see, like, a really slow transition where, like, the platformer genre kind of went to sleep for a little bit. And when they were around, they started incorporating elements of other genres to like kind of keep themselves afloat. And then, like, yeah, you had every once in a while Mario Galaxy and Little Big Planet, but it wasn't until like the new Super Mario Bros. Era where you started seeing like a big renaissance of like not only platformers but also of the Metroidvania. Speaking of Metroid, man, talk about a franchise that like never gets enough love. Like, I feel like the Metroid franchise is like, it has some of the most vocal fans on it, and yet every time a game comes out, it like always sells poorly. Actually, I could be mistaken, but I think Dread might have actually sold the best, but even I don't think that game was like breaking numbers for Nintendo, at least. Maybe for the individual franchise, but like when you have over 100 million Switches out in the world, and one of your biggest franchises is Metroid, I'm surprised it doesn't like sell at least 5. Like, it's been a while since I've actually like done research on like sales numbers and console wars, because people, I'll be honest with you, console wars have not been interesting, and for a while, like pretty much since the beginning of the PS4 era, because after the Wii U died, the 360, or I'm sorry, the Xbox One was basically playing catch up to the PS4, and it never caught up. Like, Sony just dominated that generation, like, handily. Like, I know you can make the argument like, oh, well, the Switch outsold it, and yeah, it's true, but I think there's a bit more to say to it than, like, software sales, because I think most third-party games, if not all of them, probably, if I had to guess, sold better on PlayStation than Nintendo. Because Nintendo fans, like, up until recently, like, I don't know, they're just not the most, like, open with their wallets. Like, they'll go ham on some Nintendo games, and even then, that's kind of questionable. But, yeah, like, there's a reason why, like, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is not a banger. Even though that's an objectively, like, that's a really good game. Like, they're the reason why Star Fox never gets picked up. Because, like, these guys go, oh, we want a new Star Fox, and yet when they make a Star Fox, you guys don't buy it. Even Pikmin is in danger of that happening to them. Like, everyone likes to claim how much, like, people like these franchises, and yet outside of, like, Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon, and then, like, the crossover material, like Smash Brothers and Kart, like, none of those games sell particularly well. And that was why, for the longest time, many people were saying, oh, well, maybe Nintendo should just go third party, because, like, their sales numbers are literally, like, their shitty hardware is what's holding back a lot of their franchises, because you used to have franchises that would sell, like, millions of units, and now they're scraping by, which is so bizarre, because, like, the Wii in particular, like, there's over 100 million Wiis out in the wild, and yet, outside of its, like, hardcore collectors like myself, nobody ever talks about its games. Like, when's the last time, like, anyone's ever talked about The Last Story, or Pandora's Tower, or Lost in Shadow, or the Conduit games? Been a hot minute, yeah? Or how about the remake to Silent Hill that was on there? What's that called? Shattered Memories? Like, there's so many, or like the House of the Dead remake that they had. Like, there's so many good games on the Wii that are just locked there, but they're completely, forgotten, or never really appreciated by the fan base, because the fans of those, of the console are not gamers. Like, Adam Korlek says it way better than I ever could, but yeah, he's, god damn it, totally true. Fuck! Ah! Okay, that was some bullshit. Now, there's actually a level in this game that's like, it was cut because it was like deemed too difficult, and they added it in as free DLC for this version of the game. And I gotta say, like, the level is similar to this. I think it's called like Stormy Night. Fuck! And yeah, it makes this game look like a Spiral the Dragon level. Ah! But yeah, you can definitely tell we're getting to the end of the game, because I'm pretty sure this is Cortex's tower. Although there's some other bullshit that he has in store for us. Like there's this part in the game that has the lights going out, so you have to keep grabbing Aku Mask in order to like even see where you're going. There's a lot more gimmicky stages like that that are on the way. But as like a build up to the final set of bosses, this is really good. Ha ha! One of the things I do like about the first PlayStation game is like, even when the games were brand new, I don't feel like they had to cost an arm and a leg in order to like for them to sell. Like I remember you could buy the platinum hits from them for like $20, and I don't recall any PlayStation game ever rising to $100 like Ocarina of Time did. And that's why when people say like, man, I'm really concerned about the price of gaming, like, no, not trying to defend the big greedy corporations because they deserve to have all the shit talked to them, rightfully so, but like, you guys really have no right to complain because we've been paying like $60 for video games since like 2005. Gaming has never been cheaper. And if like they really were to match inflation, like they'd be well over $100. Now it's still not an excuse. You know what? Screw this one. It's still not an excuse, and it still doesn't make it right. And I'm certainly not looking forward to paying. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm certainly not looking forward to paying what, $90 for a new Mario Kart. $80 for a single-player Donkey Kong game. Granted, it looks good. It looks fantastic. I'm definitely going to buy it. But I am a little perturbed. I think there's a reason why there's such a big, like, level of disdain that people are having towards the Switch 2. I don't think, like, in a time when, like, people are really hurting financially, like the worst they have since like the Great Recession, the idea of asking them to pay a minimum of $80, to say nothing of what the taxes and the possible tariffs are going to do, like it just seems like a 1-2 punch in the face. So I totally empathize with people feeling that way. And I normally would say, oh, we'll just wait for a sale, but given how seemingly infrequent these games go on sale in the first place, I don't know, maybe invest in physical and hope that GameStop sells them on a deal. Or just start using the vouchers, because speaking of which, I wonder how those vouchers are going to work, because are those going to go up in price? Huh. Because you get 2 games for $100, technically. Nope. Nice try, bitch. Oh my god. And with now every game costing upwards of like $100, like we really should have seen the writing on the wall when, what was it, Tears of the Kingdom came out for $70. Like that was them testing the water. And that's why we warned people, don't buy this game at that price. Don't do it. The game's good, but it's not, like, you're going to set a precedence that this is okay, and now look where we are. And if they're going to do that, well, what's to stop other companies from following suit? It's like, well, shit, Nintendo can get away with it. Why can't we? It's like, oh, well, you know, if you like these games, why don't you support them at full price? Don't you like the developers? First of all, everyone who's worked on those games has long since gotten paid before you even make a purchase. So spare me the whole, oh, don't you care about the developers? Now, I was just guessing where to go. But, You take Bloodborne, for example. I like Bloodborne, but I never bought it full price. But I did buy it digital, and then years later I bought it physical, and then years later I bought it digital. I've more than paid my fair share for Bloodborne. Not only that, but I pay for this service to, like, use their online. I give Sony enough money, I think. But I remember when Nintendo was trying to sell us Wind Waker HD for like $60, and the game had already been 10 years old at that point, and we weren't that far removed from the GameCube. But, oh, speaking of GameCube, am I, like, the, at least for me, like, it felt like that Switch 2 presentation was specifically made for me, because it had everything I could want. A new Donkey Kong game, a Metroid Prime 4 is around the corner, you got a new Mario Kart game, and they're finally bringing the GameCube stuff over, because if nothing else, like, seeing Fire Emblem on there, means that the physical edition prices may finally go down. Paying $500 to play a goddamn Fire Emblem game that's been held hostage on the GameCube physical for decades now at this point. But we kind of get to a problem with, like, Nintendo games post the post 2006 or so, like post the GameCube, because a lot of their games that were made them have unconventional control systems. Like, they always have, like, 3D, or 2 screens, or waggle controls, or they use a fucking tablet. It just seems like Nintendo, for, like, that whole, like, pretty much from the moment Satoru Iwata was in control, never wanted to make, like, a normal console. It always had to be some gimmicky bullshit, which is fine for the moment, but, like, years down the road, when everyone's gone back to, like, normalcy, how do you go about porting these games over? What, like, do you use gyro controls? Do you just stamp another smaller screen on the side of the table and hope for the best? I think that's the main reason why you have not seen any, like, preservation for, like, the Wii era stuff as you've seen with, like, generations past. You know, beyond the fact that Nintendo just does not seem to care about anything beyond the 64. Like, that's why the GameCube announcement was so shocking to so many people, because it felt like Nintendo was treating the GameCube as, like, a black sheep, or, like, I don't know, like, they don't like to talk about it for whatever reason, which is weird, because it's usually seen, like, even by its biggest detractors, as one of their best systems. So I don't understand why Nintendo, up until very recently, has been so hesitant on even acknowledging it. I think the Smash community in particular is pretty much the only reason why the controller is still a thing. And by the way, if they don't allow Smash Brothers Melee onto the GameCube on day one, that is going to be, like, just the biggest why do you not like money moments. But so far it's starting off good. I don't like, you know, it's good that Luigi's Mansion's there, it's good that Sunshine's there. I'm really surprised to see the aforementioned Fire Emblem game there, but I hope this doesn't become like the 64 or the Genesis, where they, like, start padding out the numbers with a lot of bullshit that we don't necessarily care about. Like, I don't think there needs to be every Pokemon game on the system right at launch. I think those slots could be preserved for games more deserving, like Metroid Prime or Twilight Princess on the GameCube. Chibi Robo was a cool surprise. Oh, the Star Fox game that's on there. Because it seemed, and we were guessing that, like, those games were never going to come to NSO, because, like, going off of the examples given by Pikmin and Metroid Prime and such, it seemed like they were more interested in porting games over from, like, instead of, like, remaking them and instead of porting them over and allowing you to play all these games like a traditional NSO title, they seemed more inclined to have you pay full price for all of them again. Now, I mean, sometimes they would do, like, the cool thing and bundle them together like they did with Pikmin 1 and 2, But more often than not, they would just like slap a new coat of paint on it and then like have the balls to ask you to pay them for work that they did 2 decades ago. Which, you know, I don't even think Sony did that when they were pouring over entire trilogies, let alone one fucking game. Dude, man. Focus. Okay, so that right there is exactly why they did not want to bring over the spin jump to this, or the dash jump, because it would have made this level completely, like, irrelevant. Like, a complete non-factor. Aha, bitch. I'm pretty sure that's not the way you're supposed to do it, but fuck it. We got through, yeah. Whee! One thing I really do like about this game is or at least this version, is its use of colors. Like, I don't recall what this version of the level looked like in the PS1 version, and that's why I really wish they had the ability, like in the Mass Effect trilogy and, I'm sorry, the Master Effect, the Master Chief Collection of Halo 1, the remake to that, where they have the ability to switch between the old graphics and the new. They should have ported that to this game. Hell, what the fuck? I wasn't even touching it! God damn it. Fuck you, Crash, and your weird-ass hitbox. Lying bastard. Anyway, the Tomb Raider games have that ability. I don't think it's too demanding on the hardware. Yeah, I am getting tired, but I want to finish this game in one sitting in the stream. That way we can enjoy it at our leisure later on when we're at the gym. I really feel like I should have died just now. Oh, thank God. Jesus. It's like working at Xbox during the Don Matrick days, a complete nightmare. We have a product for people who don't have internet connection. It's called the Xbox 360. That right there, like, that is worse than Bernie Stoller's statement on the Saturn. Like, the Saturn is not our future. Like, it's that level of bad. And for all you who know your video game history, you know, like, why that's so, like, even so many years later, why that's such an infamous quote. I'm not going to insult your intelligence and tell you, like, the full story, but basically it led to, like, lack of consumer confidence in Sega products, and which led to the Dreamcast. And if you don't know what a Dreamcast is, chances are you probably weren't even alive when it was around. But I'll give you the long and short of it is, you know those Sonic the Hedgehog games, you know, the one about the really fast furry that doesn't really play all that well? Yeah, those people apparently made consoles back in the day, and one of them was called the Dreamcast, and it was like, it sold decently at first, but then it had this upcoming system that kind of like took the wind out of its sails. I think it was called the PlayStation 2. And the rest is history, because nothing can compete with the PS2. Which, by the way, even though the Genesis is often brought up in the conversation as like one of the greatest systems of all time, why is it that when people talk about it, the only games they can name on it are Sonic the Hedgehog? Isn't that kind of weird? Like, you think a system that was like, quote-unquote, universally beloved as it was, and uberly popular in the States, as it were, Gesundheit, you think it would have had like a more memorable library, but it really doesn't. Bitch. Alright, just putting it out there, but this guy's the hardest boss in my opinion. What? Bullshit. At some point, he turns into the fucking Hulk. God damn it. This is it, people. This is the storm. Ah. Bitch. Yeah, the first 3 hits are really easy, but like, after that, I swear I can never get his fucking timing down. Like, I always feel like when I dodge his moves, it's by mistake. Oh god, he's got 2 forms, that's right. I thought I was getting lucky for a second. Throw your ooze. Oh, no, never mind. Where did his pants go? Like, his legs don't look that different. Bitch. Plus, the platforming is really inconsistent here. Like, even when I win, I always feel like I just barely win. Like, Embryo is pretty much the only boss where I can't, like, consistently get a W against him. Like, he's just a real nail-biting piece of shit, in my opinion. But it's cool because you only have this one more level and then you're fighting against Cortex, which is so weird to think that, like, oh, wait. Can I skip this? Oh. Oh, no. Hell no. No. I think this is another gimmicky level. Yeah, this is the gimmick level. The endless hallway. Like, I feel like this is what Crash games would be if they were ever made for a smartphone. It would just be like endless temple run. But I will say though, this level is one of the most fun to speedrun. But not for bullshit like that. Well, the crazy part is that I had a feeling that something like that was happening. I'm like, nah, this is too good to be true. And I realized, like, no, this game is made by trolls. Yeah. But one of the cool things that happens later on in the series is that not only do you, as you complete through like the game, you start giving level ups to Crash's arsenal. So like you get like an endless spin move, you get like a double jump, you have like some kind of invulnerability frames, like just cool shit like that. That makes you really appreciate like just the little bit of extra. Oh, the ability to run too. Like just little stuff like that gives you a nice moment of, aw, that was nice. Thank you, game. And it makes going back to older levels kind of a blast. Because you have, like, you're more powerful than you were before. You have, like, more abilities. And then the levels become even more complex because the design starts incorporating those moves that you have. See, that's called good design. Good game design. Unlike this bitch. Oh. Ah! I scream like little girl. Uh-huh. Ah! God damn it, all the way back here. Aha! Checkpoint. That's cool that you can hide in these corners here and not have to worry about the explosives. Plus, that's always fun to see. But yeah, I mean, like, look at this. Even this late in the game, we're still getting plenty of lives to go through. So there's no reason why you should ever see a game over screen, unless you see a lot of bullshit like that, or you're going for the gems. But like playing Crash Bandicoot normally is not that difficult, but going for the gems is like a completely different realm of pain. Oh yeah. So the Great Hall is like some gimmicky bullshit where you get like jump on all those gems to where you need to go. So we can skip this crap, and if you have the gems, that's how you get to the alternate endings. But now we just gotta defeat Charlie Kirk's yellow twin, and then we're good.
Darn you, Crash Bandicoot!
Oh fuck, I will never be able to unsee that now. Like, his boss fight isn't the hardest either, but it is tricky because you only have one hit bar. But yeah, Crash Bandicoot, great game for the 90s. I don't think it's like a must-play per se. I think if you could only play one Crash Bandicoot game, play 3. Just because like this game is so basic. Like, if you plan on playing all of them, then sure, you can start off with this one because the games do get better as time goes on. Just because of like the advancements in Crash's gameplay. How did that not hit? But if you're one of those people that's like, oh well, I only want to try one game in the franchise before I decide it's good or not, then there's nothing wrong with starting off with 2 or 3. Even 4, I think, is a decent enough starting spot. Like, Crash Bandicoot's... Fuck! Its story was never, like, the draw for the series. It was always the gameplay. And that's so weird to think, considering where the priorities of Naughty Dog years down the road. Where, like, they seem to sacrifice, like, the core fun of gaming just for the sake of telling a story that could have easily been told with, like, movies, or a book even, or a television show. Like, The Last of Us, the fact that that was, like, prime television material, I don't think is an accident. And I like those games. Like, I'm not one of those people who thinks that, like, fucking, what's her name? Abby was, like, the worst character to ever come into fiction. But like, what pissed me off was, like, those games existed, and then they sacrificed gameplay in service of the story. Bitch! I think I only need to hit him one more time. Oh, was that it? Yay! Wow, we beat him in like sub 2 hours. That's crazy. And what's really cool is that they use this cutscene and it feeds in the beginning of Crash Bandicoot 2. Yeah, we're gonna live happily ever after, and we never see her again. Until the 4th game. But, you know, spoilers. But yeah, it was a pretty good port for a pretty decent game. Like, I'm a little disappointed that Spyro 4 has seemingly been shelved, and the fate of the franchise is kind of left in the unknown territory. Because I feel, I guess the theory is that Crash Bandicoot 1, or I'm sorry, Crash Bandicoot 4 didn't sell nearly the amount of copies that they were expecting, but it's like, I don't recall it, like, tanking at the office, so what's the problem? Does every game need to sell Call of Duty numbers? I don't think so. Yay, new subscriber. Sweet. Yeah, we're gonna skip that. Alright, well, thank you everybody who watched the stream and everybody who watched it after the fact. I do plan on doing this a bit more often as time goes on. I think the next game I'm going to play is probably going to be Sly Cooper, and then after that, God of War 3. But Sly might be in multiple parts, and God of War 3 definitely will have to be. Like, that's either going to be like a weekend game, or that's going to be like multiple chapters, like probably 3 or 4 chapters. But yeah, that was the first Crash Bandicoot game. Don't do the typical YouTube bullshit because that's e-bagging and that's cringe as hell. But if you found this enjoyable, thanks and have a good night. Okay, cool. An hour and 47 minutes, not bad. And considering some of that was spent going to the restroom and getting some refreshment, not bad. Later.